Hi, this is Mike Rosenblatt. I'm going to continue my discussion of what is a false claim under the False Claims Act. So last time we discussed a little bit about the False Claims Act basics. And basically all we discussed was that for a false claim, a claim and demand for payment has to be submitted to the government, and the government has to lose money. So that's what we discussed in the first short video. In this video, I also want to keep it pretty short. And what I want to discuss today, though, are three other ideas. And the three things I want to discuss today, and I'm going to use a little bit of some notes because I want to quote some of the statute to you. The three things we're going to discuss today are: what is a claim? What does knowing mean in this False Claims Act, where it says it knowingly presents a claim to the government, a false or fraudulent claim? And the third thing I'm going to discuss: what does materiality mean? So let's discuss first, what is a claim? So a claim is a demand for payment to the government. It could be, according to statute, when somebody actually submits a request to the United States government or one of its agencies like Medicare, or a state agency like Medicaid. And that's a good example of the second provision of what a claim is. Because the second part of the statute talks about a claim being made to a contractor if some of that money is going to be spent or given to the contractor on behalf of the government. So in a Medicaid case, for example, the claim is submitted to the state of Illinois Healthcare and Family Services, which runs the Medicaid program in Illinois. And then Illinois requests reimbursement of 50% of that money from the federal government. So even though the claim is never submitted to the United States, because the state of Illinois then takes that false information it got from the provider who billed Medicaid, and then takes that information and submits it to the federal government for reimbursement, the federal government is also a victim of the false claim. So a claim is a demand for payment or money. The second thing I want to discuss today, the second part of that claim, is knowing. Because you see, the claim says, in order to submit a claim, it says a false claim is knowingly presents a false or fraudulent claim for payment or approval. So let's talk what knowingly means for a second. Knowingly means knowledge. There's three things with knowingly. It could mean someone could have actual knowledge, it means they know what they're submitting is false. It can mean that they are deliberately ignorant of the truth or falsity of the information. So they're submitting a claim, but they don't know if it's true, they don't know if it's false, and they really don't care. And the third one is closely related to that, and that's reckless disregard for the truth or falsity. The same kind of thing. They submit a claim, they don't know, they don't care. If it's false, it's not false. They just submit it and they hope to get paid. They're going to say, I don't know that it's false, but you have to take, a defendant has to take some steps to ensure the claims that they are submitting to the government are true. And some of the case law talks about when you submit claims to the government, you have to make square corners. It means you have to be accurate in your submissions. In terms of knowledge, just not an aside, but more of a defense perspective on it. If a provider or contractor submitting a claim to the government reviews a statute or regulation and the interpretation is reasonable, that would not be considered a knowing submission of a false claim. There's cases on this. I'm not going to cite cases. This is obviously not a law school exam, not intended to be a legal analysis, just to give you some overview to decide for yourselves whether or not you believe you have a false claim case you wish to proceed on, or if you're a provider, I'll give you some guidance, just a broad overview, again, without providing legal advice. The third thing important in a false claim is materiality. And this is a big issue, especially now. A lot of cases and a lot of cases have been addressing this issue of materiality, including a recent Supreme Court case. So, according to the statute, something is material if it has a natural tendency to influence or is capable of influencing the payment or receipt of money. So what's that mean in plain English, as not as written by Congress? It means if the government knew the truth, would they have paid the claim? So if the government knew the truth that Mary Smith, a patient was seen by Dr. Jones, was actually never seen by Dr. Jones, would they have paid the claim? And the answer is no. Materiality is also defined as something is material if a reasonable person would believe it is important. So things like something like that, an example like that would be, say a provider, a doctor, submits claims but puts down the wrong date by accident, not intending to defraud or deceive or somehow convolute the system, but puts down the wrong date. That would not be considered a material misrepresentation. And it wouldn't be material because if we go back to the earlier definition, if the government knew the truth, knew that the person was seen on December 19th, not December 20th, they would have paid the claim if they knew the truth. So that is not material. So those are the three things I just want to discuss today in terms of False Claims Act. What is a claim? What is knowingly submitting a false claim? And what is materiality? If you have those three things, you can you're moving well on your way to having a valid false claim. Also, just a note here, claim must be to the government. It must be false or fraudulent, so it's not a breach of contract. And again, it must be material. If you're interested in filing a false claim or you think you have some questions about it, feel free to call me. I'm happy to discuss that with you. If I can figure it out, I'm going to put a little button here on my video so you can subscribe to the channel, as I'll be adding additional videos as times go by. Thank you, and it's December 20th today, so have a happy holiday season. Talk to you soon. Bye.